Hello everyone. Long time no seen. Yes, it's June the 20th today. It's actually just a couple hours to summer solstice as I'm recording this. Very powerful moment. So let me first recap a little bit. So I did have a fall, an accident in my washroom, broke my hip, needed surgery. That happened a bit more than a month ago. I'm already walking around again. My body is healing fast. But yes, naturally, I was not really in the mood, having the energy to do some recording. But let's just quickly go back to the last one I did, which was pretty much on the May 28th theme, which I had been talking about since months. And sure enough, there was this really, I would say, archetypal event, if you want, which set the standards in Switzerland in Blatten, where the half of the mountain with the glacier came down and buried that little village under up to 100 meters of rock and ice. And I just want to say this much: it was a Mars Saturn opposition heliocentrically on the 28th of May, and exactly the same degrees in the geocentric picture was a lunar node, north and south nodes, north node on Saturn, the south node on Mars. So this was definitely a archetypal event, if you want, which was setting the stage, the standards for what is about to come in the next year or so. Multiple events of such huge earth changes, I would say. And let's hope they all will be contained and monitored and um, giving the warnings out in time so people can, as much as possible, be in safe areas. I wish for that. And also for those who are experiencing it, that help and assistance is pouring in the same magnitude as it happened in Switzerland. They dealt with the whole situation excellently. You can go back to the archive and find post coverage of it. It was really quite amazing. Anyway, just wanted to recap a little bit here. Now, yes, summer solstice is today, and this is a very, very powerful moment. Naturally, as always, is the turn of seasons. For half a year, the sun had been going higher and higher in the northern hemisphere over the equator, and now the moment of turning comes. From now on, the days will get shorter, and we will go back towards winter solstice, December 21st. So this is really the peak of the year, if you want, and definitely sets the standards for the next 6 months, 3 months for sure. And now let's have a quick peek at this chart here. We will get back to it, but for now, I just want to have you focus on this Greenwich chart in the zero meridian with the 8th degree of Leo here at the bottom. And here on the side, I have Israel's chart. We will see, I will get into this somewhat, and actually just want to show you the correlation here, which struck me. So in the progressions for the Israel chart, the progressed sun is at 722 Leo. And again, you see this is where we are at 741 Leo. So pretty much shows that this is no surprise that this event, this war broke at this time that Israel plays that role. It seems to be meant to happen in a way, and I'll show you even more proof of that. This is just the first top layer of it. But before we go there, just a few words to this solstice chart as such. So interesting first is the Sun Jupiter conjunction upcoming in 2 or 3 days. So the Sun entering Cancer first and foremost is activating all these cardinal planets which have been getting in their kind of getting activated in these new signs, in these cardinal signs, Saturn and Neptune here in Aries, which really means a whole new dream is going to be coming into this reality. It's already started. There's sprouts and little seedlings shooting up everywhere. Jupiter definitely has been the challenger in a way, the empowerer, really asking what holds and what doesn't. It's that proof, and we will get to that back to that too. I want to actually get started with Jupiter's ingress into Cancer in a couple minutes. But first of all, the moon in Taurus in the very first degree. This is beautifully placed here together with Venus also in Taurus at the time. The moon in Taurus is success, Lord of success. It is kind of that anchoring in this fabric of reality. It's creative in a very tangible and touchable sense. Planting, gardening, all of these things, taking care of nature, creating a place of safety and security for each one of us in a way. Here, coming out of the Chiron Eris conjunction. So, really, this moon has matured in a way already quite a bit. Yes, it's also coming close to a new moon, which means it's already a very experienced lunar energy, has gone through that much of the cycle, more than three quarters, is in that fourth quadrant of release and of applying what has been learned in that first section. It's a rich and experienced energy, that moon, particularly coming out of this conjunction here with Chiron and Eris, really getting the feel for what needs to be done to get things into the right place, also in terms of disclosure and laying things open, which Eris is really relentless about pushing for the truth, regardless of whatever the consequences. So, yes, it's crazy times we're in. I guess we all would agree on that. Everything is kind of breaking open, changing all at once. It's highly stressful on many levels, but it is definitely also challenging us to be more creative and more thinking in new ways, in new directions. So yes, this war kind of is definitely not what we want and what we were praying for. No way. But it came as a big challenge, as a curveball thrown in, and definitely the whole question of war, the value of war, if there's any in it, the craziness of war, you could also say. I mean, it's all really coming fully into the open. Everybody can see it, even the people within Israel. I mean, this is really crazy. Israelis cannot leave the country anymore. You probably have heard that. They are locked in, and there's this constant bombardment of Iranian missiles, which they totally underestimated, as now publicly has been confessed by these authorities, by the head of the Mossad, actually, the Secret Service of Israel, has said that today they totally underestimated the response they would get. Now, overall, this chart is definitely still reflecting the whole charged energy of the moment. Sun and Jupiter, first of all, this is really pushing towards a kind of a climax of performance, you could say, of kind of extreme behavior, and yet it is a kind of a difficult energy, particularly as it's in a semi um, in an let me get that right, in that square with Saturn, right? That is the main thing. that is really a harsh aspect, and also that Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune square, that sorting out of what works and what not, and really being able to think in new ways. Beautifully here with Mercury in the sign of Cancer. Also, the rich past is included here, all the memories, all the wonderful accomplishments from the past we're building on, which we want definitely to take with us. Whatever is passing the test will definitely be staying with us. I just have to take my jacket off. I'm getting a little too warm here. Excuse me for that. Okay, here I am. So anyway, let's just keep going. Let's get started actually with the progress chart of Israel here. I just want to also show you there is this 0 degree. Okay, let's close this. Okay. First degree Capricorn in the progressions. Now, here you have in small the Israeli chart, the birth chart for May 14, 1948, and this is according to Nicholas Campion, who has done all that compilation of all important charts when nations were born, founded. So this is an exact time. We have 4:37 p.m. when in Tel Aviv the that declaration was made that this would be Israel, this would be the new land, promised land for all those who were, whatever, distributed all over the whole planet, as the story goes with the Jewish nation. So anyway, it is a powerful chart and in many ways a very, very difficult one, as we will see when we go a little bit deeper into it. So the 0 degree Scorpio rising in the birth chart, and then here we have the 0 or first degree Capricorn in the secondary progression. So this is an exact sextile. As you see, this is a moment of them celebrating their power and really wanting to establish that in a strong way. And I mean, it's all really based in fear. That is definitely what we can see out of the original chart. Just want to quickly show you the main structures with the sun here opposing Chiron in an exact T-square with the black moon, which is actually here pretty much at the exact midpoint. So this is paranoia in a way. This is getting that feeling that there's no safety nowhere, and then all that Leo energy here in the 10th house, which almost demands them to show off their power, with the Leo moon particularly here. So the moon always is a bit irrational in many ways. It's based on emotions, naturally, on feelings, on past experiences, and then we just extrapolate that and then fuel whatever the sign and the planets are which are close by. And naturally the Pluto, Saturn, Mars here, this is a control and that military kind of style of wanting to have absolute control about everything and be on top of it, be the strong armed ruler. Also, what really stands out, I mean, could talk a long time about this chart alone, but the unaspected, well, it is aspected actually. It has that trine from Mars, but that is really the only Ptolemaic, Ptolemy, Ptole, Ptolemenian, Now I can say it. Ptolemaeus, the main aspects. This is a 120-degree angle. But it is, I guess what I want to say is it is intercepted here in its own sign. So it's a very, very powerful loose cannon in a way, this Jupiter, very close to the galactic center. That gives it really also that entitlement, I would say, of that God-given mandate almost. Yeah, you could call it a bit of hubris. I guess it definitely goes that way. So let me now show you this. This is when Jupiter entered Cancer. That is on June 9th. That was just 3 days before that war broke out. Before that aggressive move to destroy all the nuclear facilities of Iran. So you see the same energy, the first degree of Capricorn. So that definitely has created a synchronicity which allowed this to really happen. The black moon here, right in the center of the chart here with Radamantis, who is kind of representing justice and doing things in the right way. So definitely this is a little corrupted here, this whole justice theme. Elatus is the ability to really rationally think and put arguments in the right place. So there's lots of that going on naturally, lots of reflection right now all over the globe on, as I said, what war means in a general way. Do we really need war anymore? With that Sag moon here, yes, it has that expansiveness in it of wanting to show off. And actually, Jupiter here, 0 degrees, that is the main reason for this chart, naturally, in a close conjunction here with Mercury, both in Cancer. So it is a new approach to things in a way. Naturally, it's not the one we would wish, but it definitely threw in a big curveball, a challenge. Sorry, this keeps coming up here. So let's keep going. So this is the geocentric chart for that moment, June the 9th. And now I want to really show you the background of this energy, how the planets were arranged around the sun at that moment, because naturally we have a different place of observation, which changes the whole geometry around. What stands out here is Mars. You see, the Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune square is the same, pretty much the same, as these are planets which are quite far away. But if we go and look at the closer planets, they change quite dramatically in placement here in the heliocentric in the first degree of Libra, exactly opposing Neptune. Again, there is this being deceived and kind of seeing things which are not really true or happening, because there's no proof about all these allegations of nuclear weapons, as that has been used as an argument for 30 years already by the Israeli government. That's how long this goes back, this claim of being endangered by this nation's whatever nuclear research. So anyway, you see, it's really a most powerful placement of Mars here in the eighth house here collectively at that point. Again, I could say much more about it. I just want to keep going. Now, this is the first degree Capricorn, which I said, which totally resonates with that progressed feel of the nation, how to express itself. That's what progressions are all about. They are the dynamic evolution of a birth chart. Now, now we're getting into what's still to come. So that's July the 2nd. That's in about 8-10 days from now. First quarter moon, a dynamic male energy pumped up moon. The first quarter moon is 7 days after new moon. That's when usually this is the strongest um, physical push for change, for movement in a new direction, breaking grounds. So this is an important week, which we then will get into. And you might have heard of the big um, predictions for July the 5th. There's two sources. I will actually share that link. Stefan Burns did an excellent episode on that. So I leave you to that. But just want to mention July the 5th has been labeled as a day of potential big event, whatever that might be, a big earthquake or a solar event, or who knows, an asteroid crashing into the ocean, something really of huge magnitude with which would cause potential also great damage. So just a look out for that. It is interesting, but I naturally hope nothing of that kind, of that magnitude, really will take place. But the chart definitely is kind of having a bit of an ominous feel to it. This one, most certainly because of this midheaven of 555 here, again for Greenwich zero meridian. And as we go and look, that is where Neptune, when Neptune will station just 2 days later on the 4th of July, that's where the moon will be 555. So this chart kind of links into this Neptune station. Something is up there with Neptune. Neptune is definitely a very powerful here at the bottom of this chart here with Saturn, the part of fortune, which not always is just fortune, it's just a manifestation point. So this often can also mean that something manifests, which is of the quality of whatever is in that spot or related to it. But there's this other chart too, which is exactly in that neighborhood of events. You see, this is the 2nd of July, first quarter moon, and then just a day after that, Earth will be at aphelion. Aphelion, that is the farthest spot from the sun. You know, this, all planets and Earth included moves on an ellipse around the sun. So there's a place where the Earth moves fastest, which is in the middle of winter, around January the 4th, January the 2nd. It is kind of a chaotic motion there. So it's every year it's a little different by 1 day or two, but it is in that neighborhood. This is the moment astronomers have calculated the Earth will be farthest away from the sun. Now, what does this moment really mean? It means that this is Earth having moved away from the sun for whatever 180 plus days, and now coming to that extreme point where literally Earth's orbit is redefined, reset for that next 180 days, where it now will go closer again. So it is really the peak of the wave in a way. And it is a moment which is defined by the sun and earth alone. Every other, and I really like to emphasize that every other observation and placement we use in astrology is always triangulated. We look from one point and see how two other points from that place seen are interacting, either from naturally heliocentric from the sun's perspective or geocentric from the earth's perspective. But in this case, it's really only two which are involved. In fact, it is boiling down to the earth's own choice of having, of how to rewrite the script for the next 6 months, basically. So interesting. Again, we have the eighth degree this time of cardinal. We had the eighth degree of fixed here with the chart we looked at before, the one of today. Summer solstice, and where Israel the progressed sun ties into. Very interesting here is that moon in the 24th degree of Libra. Again, this shows the flavor of this chart, how this energy will express over the 6 months, and I want to read you here a little bit of that Sabian symbol because it is such a powerful one. Blown inward by the wind, the curtains of an open window take the shape of a cornucopia. And let me just read you the whole thing because it is really making so much sense. Let me just find it. This is 24 Aries. This is the openness to the influx of spiritual energies. The open window and the wind representing spirit, bringing something in which is kind of formless. The principle of abundance is brought to a further stage in this rather cryptic symbol. Interesting that abundance is mentioned because this part of the zodiac is also ruled by okay, sorry, I'm already ahead of myself. Let's get that straight. That 24th degree of Libra, that is that is here actually, 25. That is the one, right? Okay, here, this is the one. We get to that chart. Yeah, but they both are activated. Actually, it is interesting that these two charts are linking into one another. Nessus, I haven't been talking much about Nessus lately, but Nessus is super powerful these days too, as it's turning retrograde just 12 hours before that solstice. Actually, it has happened already as we record this, but Nessus is still pretty much motionless. Nessus is one of the centaur planets here, pretty dead on the north node too, where it will be most exact on the 25th of June, just in a few days. Anyway, this 24th degree of Libra. Okay, let's go to that one because they're both really important degrees right now. And again, that's from the Sabian Symbols, the edition by Dane Rudyard, which I'm using here, a very old worn copy. A butterfly with a third wing on its left side. The ability to develop for inner strengthening new modes of response to basic life situations. I guess that's really what is happening. We all have to adapt to new situations and kind of change our perspectives, our thoughts, because we have learned something which we didn't know before, which has to be integrated into our worldview, our belief structure, whatever. Many things have to be let go in that way and of truly laying new foundations. Interesting is we again have the Capricorn rising and the Scorpio midheaven, which we see. If we just go back quickly, this is a repeating theme. All these charts which I have here for you, this one starting here, have that Capricorn rising. Now, yes, this one I showed you already. This is the one where the moon is at 5:55. That is on the 4th. Again, very close to that Earth's aphelion, which technically means all these events are in the same package. They work together in a synergistic way. So there's a very, very strong Neptune around this reboot of Earth's orbit in a way, of what's to come, of what's set in as a master plan, as a blueprint for how things will develop from here. And yes, just want to also point out again the black moon here with Juno. Yes, it will get pretty darn rocky and difficult in many ways. War is just one potentially difficult thing to deal with. Earth changes might be on their way too, as Uranus and Sedna are the main players here in all that seismic activity we are seeing. I went through a whole bunch of volcanic and earthquake charts. These two, when they come together, they kind of are that deep rumbling, breaking things open from a really unknown and profound place. Just think of Setna being the one ruling the deep oceans and all the mystery holder. Uranus awakening this energy. That's what we are seeing. So let's see where we're going from here. Yeah, then Uranus moving into Gemini on the 7th, again within days of that critical 5th of July. The moon here again in Sagittarius. That's just that 28 days since Jupiter entered Cancer, also with a Sagittarius moon. Again here, the black moon, this time here at the bottom of the chart. This is Israel's lunar nodes axis. So definitely we can count on this is an ongoing theme. This won't get resolved so fast. It has really to come to a place where everybody is seeing things. That's why we have to allow things to move to extreme places. And thank you to every soul on this planet at this moment, having taken on the task, the role they are playing in this grand scheme of unfoldment and of transmutation. That's really where we are heading to. And actually, before the transmutation can happen, we have to move into extreme levels of sorts. It's kind of that statement that the easiest to really wake up into a whole new reality is when you are coming out of a nightmare. It is kind of the nightmare in itself as the is the ingredient which is uh, enabling in the end a breakthrough of that magnitude. The sun here in a 45 angle with Uranus that definitely enhances this chart's power to an X degree. Sun conjunct Hades and Kronos both. These are Uranian planets. Actually, I would say they are not really in that same material dimension we are in. They are from a different phase length, if you want, in a different, slightly different dimension, but they are very powerful points if one uses them. Hades is the lowest of the low, connected to the underworld and all the dark and difficult experiences. Very, very similar to Nessus, who, as we said, is here at the North Node. See here that it's just a few days past, but this is a powerful conjunction which is active again for the whole next few months for sure. This is the heliocentric picture of that moment. Again, you see heliocentrically some very special arrangement of planets too in this moment. Mercury here being heliocentrically almost perfectly opposing Uranus, which brings in the aspect of realizations of it's kind of that scientific mind which comes in, and also the scorpionic force of research. Deucalion here, yes, Deucalion is the one who's seeing in a way what the potentials are, what to prepare for, how to navigate through something which is not yet fully clear. It is also that trust in God. Noah was um, one expression of that Deucalion energy, for example. And again, naturally, Uranus exactly overhead here in this Greenwich chart at the most powerful spot here, 90 degrees above the horizon. Yes, this is again saying, hey, we have arrived now. This is really we are at the most intense part of the movie. And yes, this can last for a while. Uranus will be in Gemini for 7 years. However, I expect the next 12 months to be really 12 to 18 months to be the most critical period. I guess we are all ready for that, prepared for that. We just have not to give in to fear. That is very important, just to stay in the moment. You get all what you need. The existence is providing us every moment of exactly the ingredients and the thoughts, ideas, visions, meeting people in the right moment, being at the right place at the right time, all of that. Once you start trusting yourself first, yes, trust yourself because you are connected to God, you are connected to the whole of existence, and naturally, any type of fear is inhibiting us from truly connecting to that field. That's why it is super important to come to a place of inner calm, serenity, regardless of what should happen or not. Yeah, both Mercury and Uranus here in that exact grand square. Yes, there's lots of eurekas which are embedded in this birth chart of Uranus in Gemini. Very, very powerful day, actually, also in numerology 777, if you just take the 25. And then 3 days later, we have the Capricorn full moon. And here, Uranus and Sedna are exactly at the fourth house cusp. Now, this is really explosive. This is when things get into high rattle mode, I would say, particularly also with that 19th degree Cancer Capricorn full moon axis. I pointed out that 19th degree multiple times earlier this year in powerful moments, in powerful foundation charts. This has been playing a role, which is about, to simplify it, go for something totally new. It's a marriage on one side, a communion, bringing together polarities, and the 19th of Capricorn. Let me look that one up once more because it's really powerful opposition. That is the 5-year-old child carrying a bag filled with groceries. So that is that ability to prematurely take on difficult tasks even before we are fully ready. Great responsibility naturally comes with this too. This is a very, very powerful full moon. So expect that second part of July into August to be critical in many ways. I guess that week of 5 around the 5th of July, this is just an opening salve, you could say, maybe at a first really big event, but it will be followed most likely all the way through the next 12 months or even longer, 18 months, you could say, because it won't all happen at once. It will be a a well dosed journey so we can keep up, we can keep evolving at the speed we are on without getting overrun all at once by everything and all. That's how I see it. So now let's get back to the summer solstice chart once more. And again, want to point out the black moon here, this time in T square here with the um, major axis, the major focus, the major development axis. And again, this is a powerful pair of degrees. You can look them up yourself. I won't do that right now, but let's just keep going. I don't want to make it too long here anymore. I just want to scan through. This is the heliocentric perspective geometry of that moment when the sun is exactly entering the passing through the 0 degree Cancer degree, which is, according to Rudyard, this is the time of decision. Up to now, we have built up our inventory, our understanding of what's going on around us, have gone through the Gemini energy, which was all about discovery and the exteriorization of our experience, and now comes the decision. So this will be a critical time for everyone on this planet to rethink what they are allied with, what they are supporting. If morally we can keep going the same path we have, or we might have to attune to a stronger frequency, which is awakening within us, which is more heart centered, which doesn't allow us to do certain things anymore just because we have expanded, realized a bigger panorama of reality, which is not in harmony, in sync with these lower frequencies anymore. That's where we are going. And again, this is Nessus turning retrograde, kind of that critical moment when a planet turns backwards. This is now the processing time which has started for what has been built up in that planet's um, basket over the last 7 months roughly. That's kind of the balance between forward and backward motion. 7 months forward, 5 months backwards. That's pretty much a standard for all outer planets. So for the next 5 months, in other words, we are processing, and this is the chart. And again, you would be probably not surprised to see it's again very close to that same axis. This time it's the 10th degree of um, fixed signs, as we started with the 8th degree, the Israel progressed sun, and the summer solstice power axis, focus point of what's coming. Here it is again, and then again the black moon. I mean, I can't make these things up in a perfect T-square here with the consciousness axis in the first house again. So again, the black moon keeps showing up, and in Scorpio it is until the end of the year. Naturally, this is the most intense time of digging deep into the swamp, you could say, the diving down to the deepest layer of the bottom of the ocean, almost, to unearth, to bring forward into the light and transform, transfigurate. Yes, everything which comes to light will be healed by the light. And the last chart here I have for you, just as a little extra, a little encore. That was when Earth was exactly aligned with the galactic center. That is just a few days ago. The galactic center at 27 degrees and 12 minutes in Sagittarius. In that moment, which is kind of reflecting on our galactic alignment with that yearning to become a galactic, what's a family almost, to become star people. That is always reinforced and redefined with these exact alignments of the sun with and of Earth with the galactic center, but also of the planets. It kind of shows that glorification into a much higher dimension. What I wanted to show you here is only the moon, really. Again, this time here, 1924 in Pisces, it was in close conjunction again with Nessus and the node, nevertheless. So this is the path to a greater integration with the cosmic. It goes through truly absorbing and exposing, allowing for those low frequencies to be felt, seen, accepted, understood, and forgiven because we all have a part in giving consent to what happens. We all are connected at the very deep level. We have to see Israel, for example, and everything else that happens on this planet as something we helped creating and which plays its important role in the greater awakening and the greater evolution of where we are going. Just trust the process. It will go in the right direction. Everything finally will work out. And if it's not yet okay, then we have not yet reached the end of the story. Thank you for being here. Love you all. Lovely to be back. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.